Many of you may be aware that Windows 11 just came out. So let's dive into some really cool features that we feel like you should know about, as well as some things that might throw your users for a loop if they don't know about. So let's get to it. So let's look at the menu. That's one of the areas that you see a stark contrast between Windows 10 and Windows 11. Everything's centralized, very reminiscent of the Windows OS X Mac operating system about how it's centralized. Now, if you right-click on the Windows icon, which traditionally is on the left, if I right-click on this, you get the traditional menus that you see, the options that you have that are available. That hasn't really changed. They just added a few additional options by default here. But when you hit the start menu here as well, now this is where it does look different. You have more of the pinned options. There's a lot more listings of applications that you may want to open and recommendations that you have here. And if you hit all apps, then you start to see the alphabetical listing of the apps that are installed on your machine. As well as the picture or the icon for your user. If you click on that, that's going to present you with the change account settings, lock, sign out, as well as switch users. And then the power button will then present you with the sleep, shutdown, and restart. Now these are nice. Nothing's different there other than just the placement of it between Windows 11 and 10. I'll let you be the judge on whether you feel that moving those were necessarily helpful. But I do like the better organization of it, but it's probably going to throw your users for a bit of a loop, so you'll want to educate them on what that is. Now, keep in mind, you can make some changes to Windows 11 to make the menu slide over here to the left like you would expect to see on 10, and you can make this menu look very much like 10 as well, which we will do a video to cover on that. The magnifying glass is still there, but instead of it taking up a whole search area where you type in, you just click on it and it presents you with the box here, as well as suggestions and recent hints. They've added this widget icon, and when you click on that, these options swing out. To be honest with you, with widgets, I just don't get it. I don't understand really why you would want to use these that much, especially if you have multiple monitors. All this information you would just have thrown up onto your monitors for you to be able to see, and just clicking on the widget in this small area just doesn't seem to make sense. Now, there might be other people that can prove me wrong, and I would love to hear any comments below on why you might feel that widgets are great and how you use it. I want to hear that. In this next icon you see, it's kind of a cross between the icon on Zoom as well as Skype, but this is their new Teams implementation. And when you click on this, it really brings up this Teams different looking icon. This is the business version of Teams, and then this is kind of the personal version of Teams. I think Microsoft's assumption there is let's try to get more people in communicating via Teams, and then we can start really owning the chat options. But it is a separate client, so that's important for you to kind of realize. And this one will only let you log into your personal email addresses. It won't let you use your corporate addresses that have been associated with your business side, so that's why you see these icons showing up different. So that's an area where your users may be confused. They may try to log into this as their work and it won't work. So one thing that I would suggest is just removing that for your work users, because that's going to probably cause some confusion. It's very reminiscent of how OneDrive first came out. You had OneDrive for personal and OneDrive for business, and they were two separate icons. Now they've consolidated down into one icon. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to happen in the very near future in this situation. Okay, next, I love the fact that they throw Explorer by default up here in the middle, front and center, because this is where your users are typically going to want to go through and browse and look for things. But you'll notice right away that the icons for desktop, downloads, and documents have been changed, as well as how they appear over here on the left. Another thing that will probably surprise your users is let's go ahead and see what the right-click menu looks like. When I right-click on this, notice that cut, copy, delete are all missing from the menu. They're not really missing, they've just changed them to icons. So this could throw people for a loop. This is an area where I would suggest that you try to educate your users about those differences. And so there's rename, and then share, as well as delete option. And then you have open, open with, and the other traditional menu options that you have there. That was one thing that I'm not exactly sure why they felt it was necessary that they had to do this. I don't feel like this is really going to save time other than just cause some confusion. The last thing that I think is important for us to show you is the ability for you to snap Windows 2 in a specific area. So if you had, let's say you wanted to split this into different sections, see how it's going to assume this posture, and then it's going to invoke me saying, okay, let me bring up my calendar over here. So now I'm going to have this as well. Another feature which is really great is when you undock your laptop and you go somewhere and then you go to recradle it, it will remember all your settings and the exact monitor you've had them saved to, and they will open up just like that and remember, which is a really nice feature, especially for those people that have multiple monitors and postures and positions and how they have things saved. So this is a nice welcomed feature in Windows 11. So what does this all mean? Windows 11 is definitely different than 10, but it's more aesthetic. Is that aesthetic worth the challenge of having to re-educate your users about how it looks and feels? I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that. But there are some options to help make the transition as far as in how the appearance looks between 10 and 11 that you can do to try to help compensate for that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please go ahead and remember to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you later.